I can't begin to tell you how excited I am to show you around this magnificent location with the most drop-dead gorgeous, delicious objects you can imagine. I'm going to now introduce you to the owner. Wow, Charlie, this is an amazing place, tucked away on an industrial estate, but you have the most exceptional stock. And the name is?
Regen Bespoke.
Regen. Oh, is it? Well, I'm going to get onto the name as well. I think there's some sort of meaning there as well. So it's invitation only to visit you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have the most unbelievable stock. And anybody watching, wherever you're watching in the world, you'll be able to place where these pieces originated from. Tell me the story of how the business started. Where are you buying your stock? What's it all about?
So it started about 8 years ago from two partners, Adish and Gabor. I joined a little later, but I have a little bit of a background in sort of this and an interest in these kind of pieces. So they bought their first container in about 3 years ago, pre-COVID, and they were looking at trying to, sell these wonderful pieces really to the market, and I don't think we've ever seen sort of bits like this.
They are exceptional, and you and I and others, we're going to make a series of videos here focusing in on individual pieces, like something like this and these fellas here and the doors. But this video is really just to get to know you,
yeah,
and to get to know the business. So you go to India and you source all of these antiques.
Absolutely, yes. So Adish, Gabor and I, we went to India. We were in India early last year, and we, literally traveling around the west of India, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Bombay, sourcing all these individual pieces. And the idea was that we bring a collection in, and this first collection is from India, and we bring this collection in to really kind of it's this absolute treasure trove out there, and I think it was a real difficult decision for us when we were coming back, actually deciding which pieces we were going to bring back, because
but how
so much.
Terribly exciting. I'm so jealous.
Yes, yeah.
Touring around India. I love India. I spent 3 days only in India,
en
route somewhere else, and I adored the colours, the sights, the noise, the smells.
Yes.
It's everything just hits your senses.
Absolutely.
And
it's an assault on the senses.
It really is, in the best possible way. And the objects you've been buying, these also are an assault on the senses in the nicest possible way, because they are mind-boggling, aren't they? And I know we're going to talk about this in another video too, which is a very important piece.
Correct, yes.
Historically important, culturally important,
yeah.
And it's an awful lot of money, because we do have to talk about money as well. It's a lot of money, but
yes.
we'll get on to that.
Yes.
So you travel around India. Well, this is a great job.
Yes, I guess it has its perks for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, it was a, we'd had done a lot of homework prior to, in trying to identify antique dealers out there who we were going to be actually sort of tapping into, and in some cases we walked the size of 4 football pitches.
Did you?
Just scouring,
yeah.
Pieces and then trying to identify which ones we were going to come home with.
Do you love the research side of things?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
What is it about that?
I think it's the history. I think every piece that you research, you're just literally scratching the surface. I don't think, even where I've been going into certain pieces and the history of them, absolutely fascinated. There's so much I don't know.
And it's a never-ending cycle of learning, and it's a great
completely.
thrill. And you're touching the past.
Yes.
You're connecting with people long gone.
Correct, yes.
It's magnificent. It's a wonderful business for that, if you like history.
Yes.
And yeah, learning all of the time. I mean, and I know I want to make a video about these cannons. I mean, have you spent a lot of time researching these?
Yes, we did. I think we found we looked at the design, we looked at the wood, just the going back to whether where they were, where does this design come from, and where we found them. So we were told they were from Hyderabad, and India has been invaded, colonized by certain groups of people, and these were apparently French in design.
Right. But very much influenced, I'm quite certain, by the Mughal.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is often the case, isn't it?
Yes.
One invading force, one empire takes, learns, inherits, steals from the previous.
Correct. Yes.
And gosh, these two could tell a story. Don't tell it yet, because we'll make a standalone video, because they are absolutely magnificent, and you'll never see them again, will you?
No, gosh, no.
And then we've got upstairs, which we will get upstairs as well in future videos. You've also got, I can see some new pieces.
Yes.
What's the ethos there? You're bringing in new items as well.
Yes. So the idea behind the name is Regen Bespoke. So it's to regenerate pieces that already tell a story.
Yeah.
We talk about we'd like to think that we have a few pieces that have already been upcycled, recycled.
Oh, right.
And the idea is that if a client came to us, looking at a particular piece, and actually, if you look at the doors, you wouldn't know where to actually place them in your home.
No, where would you place them in your home?
But if somebody came to us and said, I love this door, but I want it made into a dining table.
Oh, I see.
So the idea is that we will, we can place it in resin. And so it's giving a piece of history a new life.
Yes.
And then to be enjoyed and appreciated for the next 100 years.
And it's really interesting, isn't it, how antiques evolve, because there we have doors from a palace or a fort, and the likelihood is that they will now become just pieces of art. They're not going to be doors.
Correct.
They're going to be literally hung on a wall.
Correct.
Or made into something else. And this goes back to this idea of recycling.
Absolutely, yeah.
And upcycling, and how all of these objects, even when they're worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, are really environmentally friendly.
Absolutely, yeah.
In fact, you couldn't get any greener, could you?
No, and I'd like to think that that's something that we advocate or promote. So yes, we do have pieces that have been upcycled already, and then any piece here, if we'd just like to breathe a new piece of, some new life into it, really.
What about the shipping? The shipping must have been an absolute nightmare.
Yes, it was. So any one of these doors that you see took 2 to 3 guys and a forklift to be placed where it is.
Oh my goodness me.
They're not moving in a rush.
No.
But, I think one wonders how in days gone by, when they were actually in situ, how they were used and how they did it. Yeah, absolutely, because just the weight of something like this is
gosh, I mean, it's so heavy, isn't it? I mean, that is really made for use, isn't it? That's to do the business, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's never gonna it wouldn't be used as a door in today's day and age, but it tells a story,
doesn't it? Just and it literally is, I know, a piece of art. It's like it's a framed piece of art.
Yeah, it's been painted, it's been weathered. It's incredible.
Okay, so there are lots of lovely standalone videos we're going to make here. Can we please, at one point, talk about these fellas as well, because they are very regal. Look at that face. And the way that the grain has opened over years, a couple of 100 years, I would guess. Would that be about right?
Absolutely, yeah. think we placed them sort of around 17th, circa 17th, 18th.
Yes, absolutely that.
Probably 18th because of the design of the coats and the shoes.
Right, I mean, this is very East India
East
company,
India,
isn't
yeah.
it?
So
Yeah.
actually probably more 18th century. And when we saw them, they were in this sort of, they've aged. They're in a state of disrepair, and they did try and repair them. I think they wanted to sort of, when we looked at them, they said, "Oh, you know, we'll repair them for you."
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
We like them just the way they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because if you wanted to go to great expense and try and replicate to make reproductions of these things, you would make them look very old and beaten up with missing parts. The irony there is crazy. So when you find something like this, original, with all those idiosyncratic kind of features, you don't want to lose them,
No,
do
absolutely
you?
not, no.
It's part of the story. You love the stories.
I
I
do.
love the stories. We're going to tell lots of really interesting stories in future videos, but for now, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.